Hi, Facebook world. A little bit late in posting today. I had a very early morning meeting this morning that turned into some other stuff. So sorry for keeping you waiting, but it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. So I wanted to follow up yesterday. I was talking about sharing a story of how everything is just related and we're all connected. And you'll notice I'm not driving today. I've specifically pulled over so that I can use my hands because I like using my hands when I talk. So a few years ago, I had just been in real estate for probably just a little over a year. I had a referral come in, and the referral was for somebody who wasn't in my area. They were actually about 2 hours from this area. First-time home buyer. They're about 6 months early than they need to buy. And we're staying in touch. And they would come into Des Moines because they were expecting a baby, and they wanted to get all their prenatal care here in Des Moines. And I got a phone call, a frantic phone call one day, that they had come into town for a prenatal visit, and during that visit they had learned that they had lost the baby, and they were calling me because they wanted me to take them around and show them homes and cheer them up. And while I love doing that, there's a certain order that it needs to happen, and I said, you know what, we've got to meet first, and we have to schedule an appointment so that we can get into these homes, because people just don't let us walk in their homes without calling. But I would love to come and meet you guys in person. And so on my drive there, knowing where they're at and what their mindset is, I really was attempting to come up with some words of comfort or something that I might have wanted to hear if the shoe was on the other foot. And I walk in the door to meet this younger couple, and I introduced myself and just hugged the lady and just said, you know, I'm really sorry that we're meeting under these conditions, and that God's going to make it all right in time. And she just kind of was mad and said she didn't believe in God, and that her boyfriend did. And I just kind of took my shoe out of my mouth and sat down and opened up my book, and let's get to business. And through the course of learning their story, who they are, what they needed, what their dynamics were, I had learned that the partner had been in prison 10 years earlier. And what they didn't know was at that time, I was teaching an exit strategy class at the women's prison here in Iowa. And one of the promises that I would make the women who would come through my class, so this class was a class that if you were getting out, you took, and it taught you basic skills on how to dress, what to say, how do you fill out an interview, how do you overcome objections. And then at the end, it's where I started speaking. I would share some of my story and connect with them and kind of fill their cup. And it was funny because if I wasn't good, it's not like they could leave. And I got really good in that short amount of time and told them that I did this. And one of the things I would promise the women at the end of the class is that when the day comes that they go to buy a home, I want to be there, and I want to give them back their commission. I want to just see the story. I want to find a way to help them. And because it's a lot of work when somebody is coming out of a prison situation, there's a lot of fees, and it usually takes about 10 years for somebody to get to where they're going to be able to buy a home again. And so I made this promise, and I thought, you know what, I'm being tested to see if I'm going to walk the walk. Because we have a lot of people who talk a great talk, but do they walk the walk that measures up? And God will find it, and he'll test you, and he does it by sending little things like this. So I'm interviewing with these people, and I said, you know what, I would be really honored if you would let me help you, because you guys are amazing. You have great things to give back to the world, and I want to be there to help. And she started crying. And she asked me, she's like, why do you do this? Why would you help? And I just said, you know what, you don't believe in some of the reason why, but we're all connected. Everyone is important. There is nobody more important than somebody else. We're all important. And that through doing this, they're going to go on and they'll pass this forward in their life to other people, and they're going to be a blessing. And it was wonderful. It was fantastic. It was a great experience. Through the years, we've stayed in touch. They ended up getting married, having babies, and I got to see all of it and just eat them up. And I don't know if you know it, but I had gone through a divorce about a year and a half ago. And the morning that I had to move, now if there's one thing I am loud and I'm strong and I'm all that great stuff, but I'm not very good at being weak. And so I don't know how to ask for help very much. And the morning that I went to go move from my house into my townhouse, they were the first ones in the driveway that morning. And I never had to ask them. And I got to tell you, it really tore me up about the same amount that she got tore up that day I told her what I wanted to do with her, for her. And they stayed at my house the entire day. They did not go home until 2 o'clock in the morning after everything was settled. They had their little baby there crawling around. And I remember thinking, you know, when we finally get to see, you don't get to see it all the time, but you get to see how it all comes back around. That, you know, in the moment that I was sitting at Starbucks with them and I thought I was helping them. And it would be great if the story ended there, but to be able to see how the balance comes back around. And they were helping me just as much as I was helping them that day. And so every single day we have the ability to find those moments to connect with people, and sometimes you get to see the coming back to benefit you on the same road you found it to start with. Sometimes you don't. Most of the time you don't, actually. But when I say that we're all connected, it's because of that. Because of doing a good deed today for somebody, that's going to go on and create a ripple that, before you know it, might come back to benefit you. And you don't do it with strings attached or for the expectation. You do it because we're all connected and it's the right thing to do. And it was one of the many, many, many things that have happened to me in my life. And to this day, it can still get me pretty emotional that, you know, how great of a story it is to start with, but how easy it would have been for me to sit back and just conceitedly go through life and know, oh, I did my good deed. Nobody knew about it. Not many people knew about it at all. It's not something I advertised, nor should you. But knowing and seeing how that came back and seeing that we truly are at any moment, you can see somebody and your first meeting of them might be on the worst day of their life. And it doesn't label who they are. It's just the moment. We're all connected. We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to encourage each other. We're supposed to be building each other up, not tearing each other down. And so I'd encourage you or challenge you today, maybe even tomorrow, to look around and find how can you leave people better than you find them? How can you make a difference in somebody else's world? How can you be the change that you want to see in the world? Because sometimes when you start that, you benefit from the ripple that comes back. So it's a beautiful story. Love those people in my life and love doing real estate and all the experiences that I get from it all. So I'm going to shoot out and put a shout out there saying, if you guys know somebody looking for real estate help, have them give me a call. I would absolutely adore and love taking care of them and finding out what their story is and how I can help them. So have them call me 515-639-0039. Otherwise, look for your challenge and share it down below. I'd love to hear it. You guys have a great day. Bye.